Shalom, family. Blessings be unto you and your household. It took a minute to get everything up today. I pray that you keep us in prayer. I'm working with two very old computer systems, and they are not acting right. I guess they're not happy because they're old. This week we have a set of scriptures, different this time. We're going to be looking at Ruth chapter 2, 1 through 23, and the history of Susanna, the whole chapter. So, without further ado, let's get into this. And Naomi had a kinsman of her husband's, a mighty man of wealth, of the family of Elimelech, and his name was Boaz. And Ruth the Moabitess said unto Naomi, Let me now go to the field and glean ears of corn after him in whose sight I shall find grace. And she said unto her, Go, my daughter. And she went and came and gleaned in the field after the reapers. And her hap was to light on a part of the field belonging unto Boaz, who was of the kindred of Elimelech. And behold, Boaz came from Bethlehem and said unto the reapers, The Yahweh be with you. And they answered him, The Yahweh bless thee. Then said Boaz unto his servant that was set over the reapers, Whose damsel is this? And the servant that was set over the reapers answered and said, It is the Moabitish damsel. It is the Moabitess damsel that came back with Naomi out of the country of Moab. And she answered, I pray you, let me glean and gather after the reapers among the sheaves. So she came and hath continued even from the morning unto now, that she tarried a little in the house. Then said Boaz unto Ruth, Hearest thou, my daughter? Go not to glean in another field, neither go from hence, but abide here fast by my maidens. Let thine eyes be on the field that they do reap, and go thou after them. Have I not charged the young men that they shall not touch thee? And when thou art athirst, go unto the vessels and drink of that which the young men have drawn. Then she fell on her face and bowed herself to the ground and said unto him, Why have I found grace in thine eyes, that thou shouldest take knowledge of me, seeing I am a stranger? And Boaz answered and said unto her, It hath fully been shown me all that thou hast done unto thy mother-in-law since the death of thine husband, and how thou hast left thy father and thy mother, and the land of thy nativity, and art come unto a people which thou knowest not heretofore. The Yahweh recompense thy work, and a full reward be given thee of the Yahweh Elohim of Israel, unto whose wings thou art come to trust. Then she said, Let me find favor in thy sight, my Adon, for that thou hast comforted me, and for that thou hast spoken friendly unto thine handmaid, though I be not like unto one of thine handmaidens. And Boaz said unto her, At mealtime, come thou hither, and eat of the bread, and dip thy morsel in the vinegar. And she sat beside the reapers. And he reached her parched corn, and did eat. And he sufficed him and left. And when she was risen up to glean, Boaz commanded his young men, saying, Let her glean even among the sheaves, and reproach her not. And let fall also some of the handfuls of purpose for her, and leave them, that she may glean them, and rebuke her not. So she gleaned in the field until until even, and beat out that she had gleaned, and it was about an ephah of barley. She took it up and went into the city, and her mother-in-law saw what she had gleaned, and she brought forth and gave her that she had reserved after she was sufficed. And her mother-in-law said unto her, Where hast thou gleaned today? And where wroughtest thou? Blessed be he that did take knowledge of thee. And she showed her mother-in-law with whom she had wrought, and said, The man's name with whom I wrought today is Boaz. And Naomi said unto her, Daughter-in-law, blessed be he of the Yahweh, who hath not left off his kindness to the living and to the dead. And Naomi said unto her, The man is near of kin unto us, one of our next kinsmen. And Ruth the Moabitess said, He said unto me also, Thou shalt keep fast by my young men until they have ended all my harvest. And Naomi said unto Ruth, her daughter-in-law, It is good, my daughter, that thou goest out with his maidens, that they meet thee not in any other field. So she kept fast by the maidens of Boaz to glean unto the end of the harvest, unto the end of barley harvest and of the wheat harvest, and dwelt with her mother-in-law. So that is the end of chapter 2 of the book of Ruth. So now we're going to jump to the book of Susanna. Jump to the book of Susanna. And yes, so far it's working. Okay, this is the book of Susanna, the history of our sister Susanna. And it reads, There dwelt a man in Babylon called Jehoiakim. And he took a wife whose name was Susanna, the daughter of Chelcias, a very Yephet, beautiful woman, and one that feared the Yahweh. Her parents also were righteous, and taught their daughter according to the law of Moses. And Jehoiakim was a great rich man, and had a fair garden uniting unto his house. And to him restored the Yehuda, because he was more honorable than all others. The same year were appointed 2 of the ancients of the people to be magistrates, such as the Yahweh spake of, that the wickedness came from Babylon, from ancient magistrates, who seemed to govern the people. These kept much at Jehoiakim's house, and all that had any suit in law came unto them. Now when the people departed away noon, Susanna went into her husband's garden to walk. And the 2 elders saw her going in every day and walking, so that their lust was inflamed toward her. And they perverted their own mind, and turned away their eyes, that they might not look unto heaven, nor remember equitable retributions. And albeit they both were wounded with her love, yet durst not one show another his grief. For they were ashamed to declare their lust, that they desired to have to do with her. And yet they watched diligently from day to see her. And the one said to the other, Let us now go home, for it is dinner time. So when they were gone out, they parted the one from another, and turning back again, they came to the same place, after they had asked one another the cause. they acknowledged their lust, then appointed they a time both together, when they might find her alone. And it fell out, as they watched a fit time, she went in as before with 2 maidens only, and she was desirous to wash herself in the garden, for it was hot. There was nobody there save the 2 elders, that hid themselves and watched her. Then she said to her maidens, Bring me oil and washing balls, and shut the garden doors, that I may wash me. And they did as she bade them, and shut the garden doors, and went out themselves at the privy doors to fetch the things that she had commanded them. But they saw not the elders, because they were hid. Now when the maids were gone forth, the 2 elders rose up and ran unto her, saying, Behold, the garden doors are shut, that no man can see us, and we are in love with thee. Therefore consent unto us, and lie with us. If thou wilt not, we will bear witness against thee, that a young man was with thee, and therefore thou didst send away thy maids from thee. Then Susanna sighed, and said, I am straight on every side. For if I do this thing, it is the death of me. And if I do it not, I cannot escape your hands. It is better for me to fall into your hands and not do it, than to sin in the sight of the Yahweh. With that, Susanna cried with a loud voice, and the 2 elders cried out against her. Then ran the one and opened the garden door. So when the servants of the house heard the cry in the garden, they rushed in at the privy door to see what was done unto her. But when the elders had declared their matter, the servants were greatly ashamed, for there was never such a report made of Susanna. And it came to pass the next day, when the people were assembled to her husband Jehoiakim, and 2 elders came also full of mischievous imagination against Susanna to put her to death, and said before the people, Send Susanna, the daughter of Chelcias, Jehoiakim's wife. And so they sent. So she came with her father and mother, her children, and all her kindred. Now Susanna was a very delicate woman, and beautiful to behold. And these wicked men commanded to uncover her face, for she was covered, that they might be filled with her beauty. Therefore her friends and all that saw her wept. Then the 2 elders stood up in the midst of the people and laid their hands upon her head. And she wept, weeping, looked up toward heaven, for her heart was trusted in the Yahweh. And the elders said, As we walked in the garden alone, this woman came with 2 maids, and shut the garden doors, and sent the maids away. Then a young man, who there was hid, came unto her and lay with her. Then we stood in the corner of the garden, seeing this wickedness, ran unto them. And when we saw them together, the man we could not hold, for he was stronger than we, and opened the door and leaped out. But having taken this woman, we asked who the young man was, but she would not tell us. These things do we testify. Then the assembly believed them as those that were the elders and magistrates of the people. So they condemned her to death. Then Susanna cried out with a loud voice and said, O El Olam, that knowest the secrets and knowest all things before they be. Thou knowest that they have borne false witness against me, and behold, I must die, whereas I never did such things as these men have maliciously invented against me. And the Yahweh heard her voice. Therefore, when she was led to be put to death, the Yahweh raised up the Ruach HaKodesh of a young youth whose name was Daniel, who cried with a loud voice, I am clear from the blood of this woman. Then all the people turned toward him and said, What mean these words that thou hast spoken? So he, standing in the midst of them, said, Are ye such fools, ye sons of Israel, that without examination or knowledge of truth ye have condemned a daughter of Israel? Return again to the place of retribution, for they have borne false witness against her. Wherefore all the people turned again in haste, and the elders said unto him, Come sit down among us, and show it us, seeing Elohim hath given thee the honor of an elder. Then said Daniel unto them, Put these two aside, one far from another, and I will examine them. So when they were put asunder, one from another, he called one of them, and said unto him, O that thou waxen old in wickedness, now thy sins which thou hast committed aforetime are come to light. For thou hast pronounced false retribution, and hast condemned the innocent, and hast let the guilty go free. Albeit the Yahweh saith, The innocent and the righteous shall thou not slay. Now then, if thou hast seen her, tell me, under what tree sawest thou them accompanying together? Who answered, Under a matastic tree. Daniel said, Very well, thou hast lied against thine own head, for even now the angel of Elohim hath received the sentence of Elohim to cut thee in two. So he put him aside, and commanded thou to bring the other, and said unto him, O thou seed of Chana, and not of Yehudah, beauty has deceived thee, and lust has perverted thine heart. Thou have ye dealt with the daughters of Israel, and they for fear accompanied with you. But the daughter of Yehudah would not abide your wickedness. Now therefore tell me, under what tree did thou take them accompanying together? Who answered, Under an holum tree. Then said Daniel unto him, Well, thou hast also lied against thine own head. For the angel of Elohim waiteth with the sword to cut thee in two, that he may destroy you. With that all the assembly cried out with a loud voice, and praised Elohim, who saveth them that trust in him. And they arose against the two elders, for Daniel had convicted them of false witness by their own mouth. And according to the law of Moses, they did unto them in such sort as they maliciously intended to do to their neighbor. And they put them to death. Thus the innocent was saved the same day. Therefore Chelcias and his wife praised Elohim for their daughter Susanna, with Jehoiakim her husband, and all the kindred, because there was no dishonesty found in her. From that day forth, Daniel had in great reputation in the sight of the people. And with that concludes the book of Susanna. We say Shalom, peace and blessings, and make this first day of the week a blessings before our Father. And that we say Shalom, Om Na.